2 weeks ago, I released a video called 5 Underrated Christian Books. This got me thinking, what are some books that are overrated? What are some books that I think got way more hype than they deserved? Now, to preface this video, let me just say a few things. First, this list is not exhaustive by any means. There are many more books that I would advise against. These are simply some of the books that I haven't enjoyed reading. Second, this list is built up of multiple types of books that I don't like. There are some books on this list that I disagree with in a slight way, but maybe it could still be helpful to some believers. There are different books on this list that I simply don't understand, but other believers might, and so that's, preference. And then finally, there are books that I would guard against and advise people to stay away from entirely. And I think which books are which will be very clear as we go through this list. Third, you may strongly disagree with my list here, and that's perfectly okay. So please leave your thoughts in the comments section. If you like one of the books on this list, defend it in the comment section. I welcome you to do that. I would love for you to do that, and explain why it's better than I'm giving it credit for. And then finally, it wouldn't be fair to simply complain about a book without suggesting a different book. And so paired with each book on this list is another book that I'd rather read or recommend. And so with that in mind, we can go ahead and dive into my list of 5 what I believe are overrated books. But before we go ahead and dive into that, let me introduce myself. My name is Davis, and here on Petra Publications, I mostly just review Reformed Christian books. My clock is going off behind me here. But if that sounds like something you're interested in, I'd love to have you join us by subscribing down below. We're about to start a series called Why You Should Read the Puritans, so if you're interested or curious about the Puritans, please join us. And also links down below to where you can purchase the books that I'm recommending, not the ones that I'm not recommending here on this list, will be available down below, as well as a few other resources that we provide at our website. So let's go ahead and dive into this video. So first and foremost, this is not exactly the title of the book that I'm critiquing, but this is the one I have sitting here with me. This is Bible Doctrine by Wayne Grudem, and I'm pairing this with his systematic theology in general. I just truly did not enjoy Wayne Grudem's approach to systematic theology. I disagreed with some of his theology, and I just think there are better systematics out there for you to read. So immediately my mind went to something comparable. This is like sort of an introduction. Bible Doctrine is an introduction to systematic theology. And so what are some others, just introductions? Well, here's Salvation Belongs to the Lord. This is a different title than the modern edition. I think it's the second edition. It's called Concise Systematic Theology or something like that. But this is John Frame's introduction to systematic theology. There's also Sproul's Everyone is a Theologian, another excellent introduction to systematic theology. Even Joel Beeke's Reformed Systematic Theology, I think, is approachable and accessible. It's a lot longer, which could be a little intimidating for a newer reader. So if you're just beginning your systematic theology reading, I would recommend John Frame or Sproul's Everyone is a Theologian. Now, the next one up, I think almost all of my audience would agree with me on. This is Jesus Calling by Sarah Young. This is a book that is incredibly dangerous, I believe. It is written as the words of Jesus to you, based on really no scripture whatsoever. And as Sarah Young mentions in her introduction, when she was reading the Bible, she always yearned and longed for more. So I think that's incredibly concerning and alarming as a devotional book. And so that is another book I believe got way more hype than it deserved. So what is a devotional book that I would recommend? This is a great edition of Morning and Evening by Charles Spurgeon. This is revised and updated by Alistair Begg. It's put out by Crossway, and it is absolutely beautiful. The layout, everything about it is just very nice. So this is a book that is much more biblically sound and provides morning and evening devotions for someone who may struggle to do devotions or is just looking for an additional devotional work to use. So that is number 2. Number 3, now here's where I might start offending people. Wayne Grudem also possibly could offend some people, but But this one for sure, this got way more hype than I think it deserved. This is Gentle and Lowly by Dane Ortland. This book, subtitled The Heart of Christ for Sinners and Sufferers, I think presented Christ in a very effeminate manner. Christ came as a man. If he were a woman, I believe he would have come as a woman, but he came as a man. God is man, Christ is man. And so I think to illustrate him in such a way that appeals specifically to women or shows him in a very effeminate light is a little questionable. And also the entire book is built on a single portion of a verse, not even a whole verse, just a fraction of a verse. And so this book, printed hundreds of thousands of times, I would assume, given for free in so many different churches, I really did not enjoy this book. So immediately my mind goes, well, why would I read this book when I can read the primary sources, such as the Puritans, that he's quoting? And that's one of the arguments I've heard about this book, is that, well, Dane Ortland quotes the Puritans. What could be wrong if he's quoting the Puritans? Well, he quotes them out of context a lot, and I would just rather read the Puritans. And so instead of this book, I recommend reading The Heart of Christ by Thomas Goodwin, which is published by Banner of Truth. Okay, here we go again. Here's another one. Probably get some comments in the comment section for this. Desiring God by John Piper. Now, I've reviewed this one here on the channel several years ago now. I haven't reviewed Gentle and Lowly just because I try to stay away from controversial waters. But again, this book, I just think got way more hype than it deserved. I think there are better books on the topic, and I think that again, this book is sort of leading you in an area that's sort of mystical, sort of, I don't know. I couldn't put my finger on it. I did not enjoy reading that book. And so it landed its title here in this video. So what would I recommend instead of John Piper's book? Oh, and I should also say, let me back up a little bit. I personally just don't like John Piper. And I know that's going to cause some interesting debate in the comment section, probably. I don't have any major disagreements with Piper. I just personally don't like him. And so that sort of did leave a tent in the way I read the book. I mentioned that in the review that I gave of that book. But what would I recommend instead? Well, this is from the Puritan Treasures for Today, which we'll be reviewing possibly next week, or starting to review next week. This is Jeremiah Burroughs' Contentment, Prosperity, and God's Glory. So desiring God's glory above all. And then one final book to leave you with here. Again, it might offend some of you. That is a risk that I'm taking. This is a book that, as I mentioned earlier, falls into the category of I just didn't understand it. It was above my ability to comprehend. So other people might be able to read it and get a lot out of it. This is C.S. Lewis's Mere Christianity. And when I mentioned to my wife that I was putting this on the list, she was quite offended, very frustrated with me that I would even bring this book into this topic at all. But to me, it was just too much. It was too philosophical. It was too deep for my level of thinking. And so it was a book that I just thought deserved not as much hype as it received. So what would I read instead? Well, a book that, again, my wife thought this was ridiculous, but a book that I think is comparable at an easier and more approachable level is J.C. Ryle's Practical Religion. Now, laugh at me if you will, but this book covers a lot of how to live as a Christian, how to live out what you believe, and to follow what you claim as your faith. So he sort of walks through all of these different things like prayer, Bible reading, going to the table, zeal, happiness, all these things that are connected to the faith in a very easy and approachable manner. Well, that's it. 5 books that I think were overrated by Christian readers, and 5 books that I would recommend instead. What do you think? Am I completely off in my opinions here? What are some more books that you think were rated and overrated, and which ones would you recommend instead? Thank you so much for watching. That's all I have for you today. Lord willing, I will see you again very soon. God bless.